Good afternoon, guys. It's Working, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar 4-hour chart on Bitfinex. And last time we spoke, guys, I pointed out that Bitcoin was operating within this larger wedge, getting squeezed tighter and tighter. Of course, as we approach the apex of this larger wedge, what do we expect? We expect a larger move, both up or down. Could be up or could be down, not both up and down. Could be up, could be down, guys. So the last time we spoke, though, I didn't point out, it looks to me like we've got this wedge within a wedge. What do I mean by that? We zoom in here, guys. Clearly, if I draw the wedge just on these wicks here, and actually draw a what I call a pure resistance and support, then this is what I get, this larger wedge pattern here, which really has only been tested twice, which is still relevant, though. I do have to say is still relevant. But if I kind of zoom in here, what do we got here, guys? We've got this ascending support line here that, without question, has been in place since September the 8th. So almost a month, and this has been tested with one exception, this big long wick right here. But if I ignore that long wick, which happened, inside of, I believe inside like a half an hour or something, just extremely quick, dropped down, hit that 6100, got pushed right back up, created this double bottom. We talked about that at length in my prior analysis. If I ignore that, we have a very solid ascending support line that, as I said, guys, has been tested numerous times since September the 8th. If I look here at the 4-hour chart, it's been tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 times since the 8th, all on the 4-hour chart. So this is a very relevant support zone. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because, as I said, we've got this wedge within a wedge. And normally, as I told you on my last update, we're watching this larger apex right here as price gets to this apex, which, this apex would run out sometime in mid-October. This is the zone we'd expect that larger move. But within that, within this large wedge, we do have this kind of secondary wedge. In the apex of this wedge, we're approaching very quickly, and will approach in the next few days, which is right about here. Now, it doesn't mean it has to wait that long. It could break out at any time. And again, when I say break out, I don't mean break up. It could be up, it could be down. And again, I know so many people get frustrated listening to analysts because they, it seems like no matter what they say, they can't go wrong. That's brilliant, work, and that's wonderful. It can go up and could go down. That's great. Why am I listening to you? I understand that. And I know it's frustrating. I've been there, listening to analysts when I was trying to learn years ago. I know that's frustrating, but that is the truth of the matter right now. Oftentimes in the market, we can get some kind of clue as far as which way it's going to go. Sometimes those clues are very obvious. Other times they're not so much. I am literally not seeing. I am seeing the only clue that I have right now, and this is why I default. If I have to choose, I'm literally almost 50-50, and the only reason I'm a little more bear than bull is because I have to. I cannot ignore until we break the larger pattern. I have to acknowledge the larger pattern, and there's no question the larger pattern is down. There's no question, as I've showed you guys numerous times, that price continues to come up, it breaks right down, boom up, and then ends up breaking right down. Smaller, 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 smaller. But the pattern is the same. Price comes up, it retraces to about the 618 Fibonacci level. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my prior videos. I've explained this many times. Price all throughout 2018 has retraced to the 618 Fib and broken down. Retraced to the 618 Fib, broken down. Retraced to the 618 Fib, broken down. And again, that's what happened. This is what it's been doing all of 2018. And I can't, I have no reason to believe it's going to do anything different until it does something different. Right now, the one thing that may change my mind is there's no question we're getting compressed. We're getting to the end of that pattern to where there's really, the only thing it can do is flatline. And one thing we know with markets is once it flatlines, it does not stay there very long. Now, Bitcoin is a bit of an exception. It has flatlined for quite some time in the past, but that was before everybody, at this point, with institutional money scratching at the bit, I do not expect that to be the case. I know everybody has compared this bear market to prior bear markets where they've lasted a year and a half, 2 years, almost literally flatlining. I do not think that's going to be the case. In 2017, Bitcoin woke up. Now, it got overpriced very quickly. There's no question. It went up to $20,000. I mean, as bullish as I am on Bitcoin, it was not worth $20,000 at the end of 2017. It will be. I believe that it will be. But at that point, it was not. And so it came up and then it just crashed right back down. Now we're starting to get to a point to where people are agreeing on the price point somewhere around 6,000, and at that point it's either going to break down or it's going to break up. in my opinion. There's just too many people in this market. There's too many people aware of it. They're not trading so much, but there's too many people aware of this market waiting to get in, that either it's going to, or waiting to short, that it's either going to break down heavily, or in my opinion, and nothing is for certain, guys, but in my opinion, it's going to break down heavily or break up heavily. Eventually, it's going to break up heavily, but there's a chance that we're going to have a lot more pain in the short term for that long-term benefit. It doesn't mean that has to happen. It just means that's what we're saying. So I don't mean to get off on a tangent, guys. So where are we at right now? Right now, we are reaching that apex of that wedge within that wedge. We're getting close to this point right here. Sorry, guys. We're getting close to this point right here. And as it approaches that, guys, I do expect it to... I do expect it to break out in one direction or another very, very soon. Now, if it breaks up, I'm expecting it to very quickly test this 6750. That's going to be one hell of a test. If it does end up breaking up, guys, we're going to be watching out for a bull trap. What do I mean by bull trap? For those that don't know, I mean oftentimes when we expect a breakout, price breaks up, traps people into thinking that it's going up very strongly, and it immediately does a 180 and comes right back around and crashes down. So that's called a bull trap. It traps people into long positions, and then market makers turn the market around and they take their money and they stop them out. Now, this is the area I would expect that reversal to happen if it is a bull trap, and it doesn't mean it has to be, but this is the area I would expect. This will be the test to see if it's a genuine, in my opinion, to see if it's a genuine breakout or if this thing is going to end up crashing and coming right back down, right around 6750. We break above 6750, I believe we're going to come to 6950, and that's going to be a major test to see if we can break above 6590, guys. That's that 618 fib level I've been telling you guys about. That's what we have to get north of if we are to break this trend that we've been in. I apologize, guys. I had to pause the video there very quickly. So anyway, what I was saying. This is the zone that we have to break above 6950. Sorry, guys, it wasn't actually very quickly. It was about 10-minute pause there. So I'm trying to figure out where I was here. So yeah, breaking above 6950, that would break the 618 fib level. That's the zone that we have to break to break this bearish trend that we've been in for all of 2019. So looking at where we are now, last time we spoke, guys, we were sitting just above 6540. That's an extremely relevant zone, as I told you in the past. That's acted as support and resistance numerous times. If we go back here, we can see that zone acted as support and resistance numerous times. And if we zoom in here, guys, we can see last time we spoke, I told you if price didn't end up breaking down, it was going to come down to this more than likely. Come down and at least test this zone down here, sitting at about at about 6450. That's exactly what happened. Price came down, actually wicked below it just a little bit, but I find it interesting that while it didn't, it did go a little bit lower than where I was expecting it to. It hit perfectly off of this ascending support line here, or off of this the bottom portion of the wedge within the wedge, as I'm calling it, and then impulsed right up from there. Came down, test, and then impulsed right back up above this 6540 zone, almost touching the top of this descending resistance line. Pardon me. Now, what I'd like to see is price come back down and retest this 6540. It's gotten close, hasn't retested it quite yet, and we are seeing the development of a decent supply zone right up in here, sitting at right in this area here, sitting at about between about 66. Let's see, right around 6,600 and 6,650, 6,660, somewhere thereabouts. We can see the price came up, wick, grow down, came up, long, strong wick, came down, strong wick, came down, unable to penetrate this zone. So that tells you what? If you've been following my videos, you know that that's creating what's called a supply zone. In other words, that's telling us there's a lot of sell orders that are sitting up in here, and price is just unable to break through. The bulls are unable to push it through all those sell orders. If we can get those sell orders filled, if price keeps coming up and wicking in there, we can get, every time it wicks in there, it weakens that resistance. And if we can get that resistance so weak, eventually price will come up and it'll break through. And the question is, who's got more resilience? The bears to fight this off, or the bulls to break through? It's going to be very interesting to tell. It looks like we're about to get another retest. If it doesn't break through soon, I am expecting it to break back down, possibly testing 6540. 6540 breaks down, I'm expecting it to come back down and possibly test this ascending support line of the wedge within the wedge. Now, and at that point, this would be, if you're a scalp trader, I'd be looking to put in a very small buy here. I wouldn't go in long, guys, because we are reaching the apex, which means it could break down hard or break up hard, but it could break down hard. But this wouldn't be a bad idea if you were looking for a scalp trade. Possibly enter a scalp trade in here, targeting somewhere around 6470, somewhere thereabouts, and then target the top of this zone here at about 6600s, again, somewhere thereabouts. Yeah, just for a very small profit. But again, I would not go. I'm not sure I'm going to take that trade, and I certainly would not go. I would not go heavy on that at all. I'd keep a very tight stop. If this does end up breaking down, and this zone here breaks down, this zone sits at about 65, or excuse me, 64.50. I am expecting a quick drop down to this zone. We can see this acted as a strong support here in the past. I would expect it to act as support again, at least initially. And that sits at about 63.80, somewhere thereabouts. If that breaks down, guys, we're going to come down and test 62.80 very quickly, in my opinion, or the bottom of this ascending support line here of the larger wedge. And this is where I would stack in buy orders a little more heavily. Again, I wouldn't go crazy. Again, knowing that this thing could end up just falling right over, but this is the area right down in here, right at the 62.80 mark, somewhere in here between 62.80 and the bottom of this ascending support line. That's the area I'd look to be stacking in buy orders if it ever gets there. And I'm not saying it's going to, but if it does break down out of this temporary wedge, this is the area. If it goes down, this is the area I'd be targeting at around 62.80-ish. If it breaks below 62.80, because remember, guys, we're getting very close to the apex, and the closer you get to the apex, the more likely a breakout. And this is the apex to the larger wedge, so we'd be getting very close to that zone, which means we could see major movement very quickly, anytime, anywhere in that zone. So if it does break down, I would expect a quick testing of 6100. This is 6100 will be a very relevant zone if it does break down. Why do I say that? I say that because just as I explained what a bull trap was, this would be a bear trap. A bear trap would be faking people out, making people think that it's going to go that price is going to collapse, and so everyone enters short positions. Market makers then turn it right back around and bring price right back up and liquidate all those shorts and take their money. Remember, as I hammer in your heads, guys, if you take nothing from my analysis, always remember this is a zero-sum game. Trading is a zero-sum game. That means that somebody has to lose for you to win, and for someone else to win, somebody else has to lose. Always remember that, guys. So if price does come down, this is the area I'd expect if it's a bear trap, I'd expect a reversal at about 6100. If 6100 does break, I'm expecting new 2018 lows. Now, does that mean that has to happen? No. But given the consolidation of this price, given that the fact, if we look at the bigger picture here, we are reaching the point to where price can't really get squeezed much tighter. Again, if I pull out here, guys, look at the bigger picture all the way back to the beginning of 2018, we can see that price just got squeezed, tighter, and we're to the point to where it's just going to move. More than likely, it's going to move in one direction or another very, very quickly and very, very impulsively. So that's why I say that if it does end up breaking below 6100, there's a very good chance that we're going to come back down and create new 2018 lows. And we'll know once it gets down to this zone here, around 68.50, somewhere thereabouts, guys, we're either going to see a major reversal, like a V-shaped reversal in that zone, or it's going to collapse, in my opinion. And I don't know which it's going to do, and I know that's frustrating to hear from an analyst. You want to know if it's going up or down, guys, and I feel you on that. But I'm just going to be completely. I'm never going to lie to you, and I'm never going to try to say something to act smart. A lot of analysts will say it's going to the moon, and if it doesn't, they'll say, oh well, a lot of people predicted it wrong, and they'll try to take a stance because they've got a 50% chance of being right. And if they are right, they sound like a genius, and if they're wrong, they'll say, oh well, everyone got it wrong. That I will never play a game like that with you. I will always be 100% honest with you guys. And the truth is, I don't see. My bias is slightly down only because of the larger downtrend, and we cannot ignore the larger downtrend until that downtrend is changed. But that being said, looking short term here, I don't see a bias in one direction or another. This thing literally could go in either direction. I do think we need a catalyst for it to have a sustainable long-term bull run, and without that catalyst, I do think it's going to break down. But there may be a catalyst. I mean, there's so many things that are in the works right now. Something could get announced tomorrow. Amazon adopting Bitcoin, that would send it to the moon. For payments. I mean, who knows? Who knows? SEC decides to make a decision early. Everyone's expecting it to happen in December, or they leak out some news that suggests that they are definitely going to approve ETFs in December. And even though they don't do it yet, they make that suggestion, and so everybody jumps in wanting to get in early on a new thing. There's a million things that can happen. The only thing for certain in crypto is it's completely unpredictable and completely uncertain. So if that makes sense. So why are you listening to me as an analyst? That's up to you guys. I do very well as a trader and a day trader, but predicting this thing long term, when that bull run is going to happen, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, it's very, very hard to do. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and look very quickly at our moving averages. Looking at the daily, the only thing that this suggests is that we are getting price is consolidating, and we are getting prepared for a larger move. Why do I say that? The Bollinger Bands continue to get bottlenecked here. They continue to get narrower and narrower. We are seeing the 821 and 55-day EMA all converging on each other. The 50-day EMA also converging on that, all suggesting a larger move is to come. We're looking at short positions. Short positions are remaining fairly stagnant. They dropped off here in the last week or so, moving up just a little bit here in the last, in the last 2 weeks. In the week, it's moved up just a little bit. Today, falling off. Nothing real significant. Look at long positions. Nothing real significant with longs either. So really nothing to talk about as far as longs and shorts. Shorts are still outpacing longs, but not by much, not by enough to say market makers are going to take this in one direction or another. That's why I think there's just so much uncertainty right now in the market, guys. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, would appreciate an upvote just in case you've enjoyed this content, guys. I'd certainly appreciate that. Until next time, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is Working, signing out.